It's my great privilege to introduce a leader who embodies the spirit of dedication, innovation, and compassion that defines our community. As we look to the future, it is essential to have a leader who can guide us through the evolving landscape of organ donation and transplantation with vision and resolve. Our incoming president is precisely that leader. Dorrie Dils has been an integral part of our community, bringing years of experience, deep expertise, and a profound commitment to our mission. She has demonstrated remarkable leadership at Gift of Life, Michigan, where her efforts have significantly advanced organ donation and transplantation. Her strategic thinking, collaborative spirit, and unwavering dedication have earned her the respect and admiration of her peers. In times of uncertainty and change, Dorrie has proven her ability to navigate complex challenges and seize opportunities for growth and improvement. As Dorrie steps into the role of president of AOPO, we are confident her leadership will drive our efforts to new heights. She is committed to building on the strong foundation laid by her predecessors, while also bringing fresh perspectives and innovative ideas to our work. Please join me in welcoming our new president, Dorrie Dils, as she takes the stage to share her vision for the future.
All right, thank you. Great way to get everyone here for the president's speech is to put John Snyder after me. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for that very warm welcome. I'm honored to serve as your AOPO president during the next year, a year that may well define and redefine our industry. When I was asked to consider this opportunity, I could not help but reflect on some of the great leaders who've served before me, legendary leaders, true trailblazers, and I am truly humbled to be on the same list as them. I can only hope that my legacy will be as enduring. I want to start by acknowledging a few people. First, I want to thank Colleen McCarthy for her leadership this past year. If you think it's easy to bring 48 OPO CEOs to a decision about a strategy or a path forward, you're at best delusional. But Colleen navigated that challenge with confidence and grace. I admire her courage when it was needed and her ability to sort through the feedback she received and formulate a plan. Sometimes leaders paint a picture that others cannot see, and Colleen helped us see what she hoped to accomplish. It's very easy to have opinions and commitment and criticisms, but the commitment that it takes to raise your hand and lead is what I admire most about Colleen. I also want to acknowledge and thank Barry Massa for his guidance and support in helping me get up to speed. I've learned a great deal from him, and he's always just a text away. And no, Barry, I am not going to lose your number. I think we should all extend much gratitude to Steve and the AOPO staff who make the association run so smoothly. And believe me, much of the work they do flies well below the radar. Steve reminded me not too long ago that he came to our industry at the start of the pandemic. With what he has experienced over the last 4 years, it truly has been baptism by fire. New and controversial regulations, an association divided, a global pandemic, congressional scrutiny and hearings, countless news stories, and good Lord, even John Oliver came calling. It's been a wild ride so far, and Steve and his team have handled it so professionally. Thank you, Steve, Roxanne, Kim Midland, Jenny, Max, Rob, Kim Olson, Denise, Megan, and Satari. I'll try to be as easy to work with as Colleen and Barry, although I think they've gotten a little taste of the fire hose they're going to drink from. But I do know that the association is stronger today than it was when Steve arrived, and I'm inspired and encouraged that we have the right people in place to get the work done. I want to thank the AOPO board for their commitment and involvement this past year. We made tremendous progress on many issues, including, and perhaps most notably, a rewrite of the bylaws, which will help guide the board well into the future. We had countless discussions about the vision and the position and the path the association will take on issues, including some very productive discussions this week. And I truly appreciate the diverse voices of the board and the many CEOs who participated in that planning. I also want to give a shout out to all the committee chairs and members. The real work of our association happens in those committees, and the many volunteers who lead are helping us all improve, all to get better. Finally, I want to thank my incredible Gift of Life Michigan colleagues for affording me this opportunity. I know that they will be picking up the slack at home this next year, and I'm so grateful. One of the main reasons that I agreed to take this position was because I am confident that I have the team necessary to keep our organization running smoothly and focused on our work in Michigan. We have more than doubled our donors in the last 7 years, and it is because of the true dedication of my board, our incredible leadership team, and the amazing 400 people who do the real work every single day, and I'm thankful for them. The Association of Organ Procurement Organizations has long been the vehicle for our uniquely collaborative field. It's been through AOPO that we have worked to solve many of the challenges that we face when trying to serve our communities, our donor families, and the patients who are desperately waiting for an organ transplant. I believe that my engagement in AOPO has been an important part of the personal and professional growth. I celebrated my 33rd anniversary in organ and tissue donation last month, and I have been attending AOPO meetings for most of those years, minus a couple of maternity leaves and one ruptured appendix year. My initial interactions involved serving on some of those valuable committees that sort out the specialized problems that we face. I've had the honor of leading some of those committees, presenting at meetings like this one, and I've certainly always been in the audience learning from all of you. When I came to Michigan in 2016, I turned to many of those same colleagues for support and guidance. They were a lifeline that I knew I always had, and enduring friends forever. The value of this association in my mind is immeasurable. And I hope over the next year that we can continue to strengthen AOPO to serve our membership. While we may not always agree, we must stay at the table and listen and debate our differing viewpoints. In fact, I'm a firm believer that every good argument deserves a counter-argument. We must continue to fill the space with the tension and the passion it takes to solve these very complex problems. People's lives depend on us to do so. I also believe that it's through this association that our leadership development occurs, and it is vital that we continue to grow and mentor our future leaders. There are many people in this room who've done this work for a very long time, and I believe we will be better served by inviting the newer voices to the table and listening more than talking. I know there are many new and innovative ideas out there, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. You may have noticed that the song I walked up to was Let's Dance from the Barbie movie that was a huge hit last summer. My pink suit, I don't usually wear hot pink to work, and many of the pink in the audience also has meaning, and if you'll give me a moment, I'd like to explain. Last summer, I was on a flight home from somewhere. Honestly, I lose track. I love to work on planes. There's something about the background noise, or more likely that my phone cannot distract me, which typically makes me highly productive. This was a longer flight, and I'd planned on getting a lot of work done. I was pulling out my laptop when the guy in front of me reclined a seat all the way back. I could practically see the color of his eyes. And this, of course, made my laptop crammed into the seat back table, and trying to see my files was proving impossible. Then the internet wouldn't work, and I decided to just give up, and I was scanning through the movies when I came across the Barbie movie. Earlier in the summer, my middle daughter, Caroline, had told me that she had gone to see it and she absolutely loved it. Now, Caroline is the last person I would think of when I think of Barbie. In fact, one year for Christmas, her grandparents made the mistake of mixing up her gift with her sister's, and when she opened up a Barbie, she flung it across the room and said, "Barbie, I hate Barbie." Now, to be fair, she was 4, and her manners have improved immensely. So when she told me that she loved the movie, I was intrigued, and on her recommendation, I decided to try it. I'm not sure if I was tired, salty because I couldn't work, or hangry, probably all of the above. But I got about halfway through the movie, and I absolutely hated it. I couldn't get past the fake paper waves that Ryan Gosling was running through, or that ridiculous beach fight that looked like a WWE moment. So I turned it off and I listened to music instead. A couple of weeks later, I stumbled across an interview with Greta Gerwig, who's the writer-producer of the movie. And in listening to her speak, I realized I had missed the entire point of the movie, which inspired me to go back and watch the whole thing. The movie, of course, had a powerful message about what it's like to be a woman. But as I was watching it, I could not help but think about the parallels to our field, and I'd like to share them with you. I'm going to read a few lines from America Ferrera's monologue, which you may recall was talking about the pressures of womanhood. I promise this is all going to make sense, so just bear with me, and if it doesn't, I hope I'm forgiven. We have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. We have to be thin, but not too thin, and you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but in the end, you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but stop talking about your damn kids all the time. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard. It's too contradictory. Nobody gives you a medal or even says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, not only are you doing it all wrong, but also everything is your fault. Exhausting, right? I cannot help but relate that monologue to the last 5 years in the field of donation. Respond to every referral, but do so in a way that doesn't upset the hospital. And if we call you late, get here now. Honor every first person authorization, but not if someone objects. Attempt to place every organ, but don't call the surgeons in the middle of the night. They need their rest. Recover every organ because it might get transplanted, but if it doesn't get used, it's your fault. Try to do more brain dead donors. Those donors are better. Make sure you provide the best preservation available, but not NRP. That's too controversial. Do all the donors, but stop offering us the old ones. In fact, just make the donors younger, healthier, with fewer diseases. Grow your registries, educate your public, go to every referral, talk to every family, get authorization more, push harder, but don't be too aggressive. Place and recover more organs. Get those organs transplanted, and even if you do all of that and you increase year over year and break records, you may still be failing. And we laugh, but it's really not that funny. Again, it's exhausting. Our field Thank you. I see you who started that clap. Thank you very much. We laugh, really, but it is not that funny. Our field is undergoing significant reform and has been under attack by nearly every major news outlet. The New York Times, the Washington Post, the LA Times, Politico, The Hill, and of course there is that John Oliver segment. Then there are members of Congress who accused us of losing organs more often than luggage, or report that thousands of organs are being wasted because the monopolies responsible are failing. I know for me, after 33 years, it's been really hard to hear all this. I want to first say, I know we need to do more. We need to keep pushing and striving, and I know everyone in this room agrees with that. No one wants a patient to die waiting for an organ transplant. But we are not failing. We are not the enemy, despite what has been said and written about us. As I mentioned, I've spent my entire career in this field, and I have been privileged to meet and work beside so many incredibly dedicated and selfless people who have literally given their lives to this cause. I know personally, when you take a job in the donation field, it is a whole family commitment. Certainly, my now adult children would agree that my work impacted their lives, sometimes on a daily basis. But none of us would change a thing, because we are the good guys. We make miracles happen every single day. I also know that none of us rest easy when people still die in the United States waiting for an organ transplant. We want them all to get the organ that they need, but the work is complicated and the many entities working within the process must improve, not just the OPOs. Simply adding regulations to one part of the system or regulations that are not aligned across all stakeholders will not solve all the issues. Donation has been rising for many years. We've always understood the urgency, and we've always pushed ourselves to do more. And the truth is, transplant is not growing at the same rate. There are many reasons why an OPO will perform better than another in a given year. The reasons are granular and they're unique. I believe wholly in accountability and responsibility for growth and continued improvement, and I know you all agree with me. I also know if any one of us had the magic bullet to increase transplants, we'd use it and we'd share it with everyone. But those who are talking about us have never worked in our field. They've never sat across from donor parents on Christmas Eve to ask them to donate their baby's organs so that another child will not die on Christmas Day. Those people have never watched as patients linger on the wait list, getting sicker and sicker because one of the many organs offered to them wasn't good enough. But we know there's more to the story than what is being told. We know that in the last 5 years, donation has increased by 38%, the number of organs recovered by 30%, and the number of organs transplanted by 22%. The truth is that is happening because of all of you, because of us. This field is full of thousands of the most dedicated people in healthcare. You're here because you have a greater calling, and you know what? Despite what they say about us, we are making a difference. Because of you, a woman who waited 76 days in the hospital for a new heart and kidney after her first heart failed, got the call, and she was able to spend Thanksgiving last year at home with her family, making mashed potatoes, full of gratitude for her donor family, and all of you who make miracles possible. It's because of you that a mother whose son was killed in a tragic school shooting gets to tell the story that out of the darkest hell, she saw light when organ donation was asked of her. Her son's story wasn't just that he was a victim of a heinous, senseless school shooting. Her son's story continued, and because of his gifts, 6 people received life-saving transplants. Her gratitude for being able to share that her son was a hero gives her peace when nothing else does. Failing systems do not have 13 record-breaking years in a row. They do not facilitate 128 organ transplants a day, and they do not provide life-saving gifts to nearly 40,000 people last year. But we're also acutely aware that 11,000 patients were either removed from the list because they were too sick to transplant or they died while waiting, and that is unacceptable. But we also know that based on the NASM report, that every patient who died on that list had at least 16 organ offers that were not accepted for them. We know that more patients should be on the list, particularly in Black and Brown communities. 500,000 people in the United States are on dialysis, and many of them could benefit from a kidney. We all know these facts, and our growth must continue. However, the advances must continue across the entire donation system. We cannot continue to recover precious organs, only to go back to a grieving family and tell them we were unable to use them. It's a secondary loss for them, and it's a tragedy for those who died on the list waiting. I applaud the recently announced initiative to incentivize transplant centers to expand their programs. It is long overdue, and I'm not making light of the complex challenges that transplant centers face with their programs and their patient population. But it is not lost on me or anyone in this room that while growth on that end of the spectrum is being incentivized, we are facing decertification if we do not increase, and it's unacceptable. I strongly object when people use the word fair. In fact, my grandmother used to say, "Dorrie Ann, a fair is a place where you go to ride rides." I learned a long time ago, not to expect life to always be fair, but I do expect reasonable. I only hope that this initiative will result in more transplants of the gifts that are being so generously given, and that we all see the equitable growth that is desperately needed. This national association is the impetus for doing our work. I know we do not all agree on the tone of a response or whether to respond at all, but what we can agree on is that outside forces who want us to turn on each other cannot be successful. In my experience, the best way to silence critics is to put my head down and work hard. Our mission is best served by creating an association we can all participate in and be proud of. The association is only as strong as its participating members. I'm asking you to familiarize yourself with our collective goals in the strategic plan. And if you are not currently involved, I urge you to step up. We need to hear from you. We need your ideas on what is missing and what we should try. Nothing should be off the table. Please feel free today, or maybe when you get back home, to contact the AOPO staff, the committee leads, the board, or reach out to me directly. It's a critical time, and we need everyone at the big table. My hope during my presidency will be to address these issues we see head on and in a collaborative way with all parts of the ecosystem. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve. I'm happy to lead, but it takes all of us together to be successful. And I know that we can if we continue to focus on the good work we do and where we can do better. Sometimes that can be daunting with what feels like constant attacks being thrown our way, but what you do matters. It matters to the donor families that we are privileged to walk beside through their most difficult days, and it matters to the thousands who desperately need organ transplants. In the Barbie movie, she was confused when her life was turned upside down and she lost her pink perfect life. I've felt that way the last 5 years. I feel like my life has been turned upside down at times. But Barbie realized that she had the power to make things right, and she set out in her Barbie dream car with determination to do exactly that, to travel to a new strange land and bravely confront the issues head on. And she did. I don't have a pink convertible, and I can't promise you the road ahead will always be smooth. But if we buckle up and buckle down, I believe we, as the Association of Organ Procurement Organizations, have the power to make things right and save more lives. As Barbie says, magic happens when you believe in yourself, and I believe in all of you. Let's make some magic happen. Thank you.